Meander City. For years I couldn't say hospital, and I didn't know my alphabet until I was 25. Surfacing from my slumber, the outside world of sirens and shouting seeps into that place where the machinations of dust carts and the banter of orange-clad operatives had slipped so perfectly into my dreams. We're all in this together, and I'm fragile, and I don't have a plan. Billy Idol on YouTube performs Eyes Without a Face, and in my kitchen coffee drips through my AeroPress as I perform superstitious obligations masquerading as daily routine. Not quite an Italian Parvoni experience, but it is over a monkey cheaper. June and November have been the cruelest months, and we live in a society where you can get more for walking a dog through Victoria Park than you can from sitting at somebody's bedside holding their hand as they breathe their last. Borough Market to Fishmonger's Hall, gavaged from arse to beak. London Bridge ravaged and referenced so many times. In 1968, an American oil man came and took the Princetown hewn stone to Arizona by way of California, thinking he was buying Tower Bridge. In 2017, a geezer screams, "I am Millwall, I am Millwall," as he takes on the van ramming, bloodied, fanatical, bloodied, bladed, jihadi boys who probably once watched Blue Peter. Nobody likes us and we don't care. Nobody likes us and we don't care. Nobody likes us and we don't care. A couple of years later, fire extinguishers and a wall-mounted narwhal tusk deployed on another fake bomber trying his all out of luck. Mesh-screened police vans reeking of lynx, farts and fear, and the sugary stink of energy drinks swoop down urgently, knee-gnawing blue from Bishopsgate, while across the road a blank-faced little Waitrose looks silently on. Our thoughts and our prayers. Our thoughts and our prayers. Our thoughts and our prayers. The river. Always the river. The 344 leaves Liverpool Street, staggers down to Monument, down past Lower Thames Street, to other stories in another day. Give it a week, give it a week, give it a week, and the marching faces will be back in the screens, back in those screens. Yeah, give it a week. Memories are short, but you're in our thoughts. Memories are short, but you're in our thoughts. Do yourself a favour. Stay away from the news and strong opinions coming out of unadopted roads. Just breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe through the nose. I try not to look at the pavement, mindful of the cracks, avoiding competitive walking, but always walking, and if caught talking to myself, pretend I'm singing badly. A Volvo driving chiropractor suggested the lovemaking movement for a lower back issue 20 times, demonstrated in the narrow hallway of a New Cross practice. Outside, the traffic never stopped while the urban tumbleweed takeaway litter kept on keeping on just where it came from. Early. For my first appointment, and I seek reference refuge in a cafe served by overqualified baristas, their beads and piercings illuminated in blushed bronze light bulb filaments. I sip my macchiato. On the counter lies a chunk of Portuguese pottery for tips, cinnamon tea and sourdough toast, trying too hard for a health hack as if it would help my back. It's too late for that, son, you can't forget the things you've done. It's too late for that, son, you can't forget the things you've done. I once rolled a two-tone green and cream Triumph Herald 3 times in a narrow, high-hedged Dartmoor lane, a double-fractured clavicle for my trouble. Earlier the night was spent in a club with a drummer from Amazulu, the backdrop chic singing, I want your love. Decades later before shots, drinking tequila, I'll do this bollocks again and again, I'll do this bollocks again and again. Turning on a sixpence back up the incline to Fenchurch Street. Just enough to register my own decline. I appreciate the option of an active waistband courtesy of Marks and Spencer's, though I have yet to meet anyone who has won their basket of shopping on a Sparks card. I have seen Dan Cruikshank shopping at Tesco's Bishopsgate for the finest and collecting club card points. The retro menswear shop of Whitechapel, adjacent to the cobbled alley where the ghosts bare-knuckle fight in hobnail boots, thick-belted, their trousers darned by their mothers, the Gothic font on the shop spelling Albert, harking back to the Ruhr Valley inventory ledgers. £19.99 German trousers in the window. £19.99 German trousers in the window. Once upon a time, in West Germany, trousers took no prisoners and always dressed to the right. I briefly dwell on the thought of deep-level Hampstead shelters and the form of Old Flo, the Henry Moore figure, before tramping a bit more pavement to the alley of the Freedom Bookshop for some class war where Ian Bone announces, bash the rich, and who am I to disagree? Extreme metaphors from J.G. Ballard. I am issuing a warning. I am issuing a warning. At Tate Modern, the Warhol opening precedes lockdown by a dozen days. His screen print, 129 dying jet crash, has seen it all before and will see it again. Hold on, I want to do the American accent to that. I want to just... I was disappointed with that. His screen print, 129 dying jet, has seen it all before and will see it again. I wander the gallery alone on the very last morning, iPhoning a private show to savour later in the silence of southwest Wales. Down past Llanelli, deep along the route of a one-time tin mine rail line, past a tall stack chimney and pump house, I'll follow the lane to the chapel where the immortelles, their core glass cracked and fractured or frozen in grief, bear witness to time after time. The wind sings in the overhead wires as I think of Leonard Cohen and Tom Jones, of black limousines and stovepipe hats, of black limousines and stovepipe hats. The spongy, rich green moss on the bark by ear, where the stars watch me walk away, walk away. Memories are short, but you're in our thoughts. All my days, fingers of bananas, balsam soothing tissues, cashing a script, collecting my parcel from the post office in Houndsditch. Preoccupied with actuaries, air quality, and the dysfunctionally attractive with their 1,000-yard stares, when their faces aren't hovering their screens, when their faces aren't hovering their screens, looking for clues, looking for anything but where they are. You're doing very well. Honestly, we are all in this together, and I mean it in a sense, not like fucking David Cameron, but the great train robbers. This is good. Here we go. The beckoning good luck, Chinese cats come in gold and also black. What's not to like, swipe right and don't forget to subscribe. Midnight Express gave us a clue way back in the day. A good Turk always walks to the right, left is communist, right is good. You see, you must go the other way. All's fair in love and war, whispered through a Thames Monet mist, a comfort to no one, as most in elective office lie again and again. Gavin Bryars loops, Jesus' blood never failed me yet, while a southpaw diligently trains and retains receipts to put it right. The clues are in the brief, while the devil is in the detail. I'll leave it there for now. Booing the murderous blonde buffoon, and how we prayed for a dying queen, oh how we prayed for a dying queen. Then it was back to Ukraine after the coronation celebration, witnessing Sean Penn, tendering his Oscar to Zelensky, while Annie Leibovich snaps the one-time comedian's misses amongst the torn and twisted war porn. Ripples of nationalistic discontentment running through Europe, with echoes of Graham Greene's The Quiet American. Yes, of course, there's always the constant of Gaza. Yes, of course, Gaza. Yes, of course, Gaza. Remember Vietnam? Perfectly demonstrating the business model of the industrial military complex and the simulated threat that kept those armaments coming, all courtesy of Truman, not the brewery. Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Don't make me fucking laugh. Rosie came from Carolina. She said she didn't like the weather. It's an unusually chilly June, and why doesn't the forecast reflect the reality anymore? Not even the Elizabeth line is enough of a distraction. But it'll be business as usual, cats on the table. That gamey cunt Cummins has a lot to answer for. I was always led to believe purple was the colour of decadence and the final statement of Victorian suicides. Brompton cocktails poured in South Coast nursing homes, sprinkled with blancmange, stained swirling carpets, the lockable slope front white wheel drug cabinets doing the rounds again and again. Everything is like something else, and wall clocks aren't all mains wired. The batteries will get changed, but only when the second-hand ticks and stops, ticks and stays. During lockdown for 14 months, time stayed that way. Mauve, on the other hand, has its own particular meaning. And the one thing we all think we've got is time. I'm listening to Sarah Vaughan performing Misty in Stockholm, Denmark, 1962, while reading about oil wells potentially destroying the view of a Surrey barn wedding venue. Memories are short. Even the courier protected in a country big on amnesia, coloured walls and pointing, in that magnificent tradition of the British workman. The BBC is shamefully biased, but it's still our BBC, with its dirty little secrets. Jimmy Savile flourished, affected with a Trumpian coiffure within that honourable institution. Behind the cover of Received Pronunciation, the producer of Jim'll Fix It, interviewed in his vineyard in the south of France. Behind the cover of Received Pronunciation, the producer of Jim'll Fix It, interviewed in his vineyard in the south of France, announced he was never aware of any misbehaviour regarding Jimmy. Nothing to see here. Just imagine the psychromatic shit going down in the luxury flats built on the site of the old BBC building at Shepherd's Bush. Stand for the national anthem. Sometimes I can't believe what's occurring, so I watch as reassurance. A rerun of that classic 1971 movie, The Last Picture Show. Especially if it's cold at home. It's like comfort eating ice cream when it's snowing. Well, you know, Johnny always wore black, and he wore black because he identified with the poor and downtrodden. Back to where the beetle nut stains the pavement and the Deliveroo and Uber charioteers congregate at the junction of Bell Lane, Whitechapel. My Beamer driving neighbour Kabir gave me a strong umbrella from Bangladesh. It has many hand-finished details I cherish. The soundtrack of hacked electric bikes clicking and clanking, with their waste bin from baskets, competing with the wheeled suitcases. Oh Lord, rubber my rollers, oh Lord, rubber my rollers. The V8 growlers of my youth, supplanted by shushing, characterless electric equivalents of blood diamonds. Do your research on their batteries. If I had the dough, I'd drive an Ule's compliant old Saab with the driver's window down and play CDs of the Brian Jonestown massacre between shops. In Spitalfield Market, Humble Crumble and Bleecker Burger never fail to disappoint with their ridiculous queues of visiting scrolling FOMOs. Londinium, what shall be the soundtrack to our lives now? The market traders hawking the lorry-boosted crockery bedding and related essentials always be gone. The old refrain of, I can only sell it this cheap because it's stolen, but don't tell everyone, you'll get me in trouble. Those spielers now silent, long gone, like 1960s 3.4 Jaguars for better handling. Outside the Bank of Cyprus, and George Davis was innocent. Their progeny doing well in the city, room for everyone, the old-time gangsters' kids working the boiler rooms. Come on ladies, buy me £1 fish for £1, fish for £1. Come on ladies, buy me £1 fish. The Pakistani £1 fish man at Whitechapel Road, doing well in the land of plenty. Good on you, son, 'cause I can't undo the things I've done. The endemic, twitching bastards of middle management of double-speak, chins and wide beams. I consider these self-conscious shoe starers the poster people of imposter syndrome, lost in their broken dreams of myths and fairies, of a speech and drama school fantasy where they would have never cut the mustard. It's always the imposters, head down in the office, lapping up the frustrations of reality and their sad existence, the life and soul of an empty lift. The failed creatives, auntie's favourites, those shallow enthusiasts of celebrity bake-offs always talking about losing weight while stuffing their cake holes with calories. On their roiling tube rides home, screaming silently, their thin-lipped mouths swirling like sucking drains, while upbeat adverts banner the carriage, publicising the usual corporate bollocks regarding shares that could go up or down, and everything is at risk, and health tonics that work because they're on everyone's desk. Please give me a break. And why can't you scorn Nembatol anymore? I would blame it on AI, but I don't know how to frame it. London, I never take personally, like a dreamy tiger as it devours you. Nothing personal, it's just the way it is. Oh, give yourself to the metropolis as sirens call and feel its heartbeat under your feet. Jet plane flying high above you, don't stay away too long. Old-time British Telecom adverts with Maureen Lipman at the foot of the stairs, bleating on about ologies. You can't have enough ologies. Spoken with conviction from the suburbs. Emma Thompson and cornflakes down Cemetery Road. And I'm in an ABBA blaring rickshaw cycle coming out of Denmark Street. I'll be around over Battersea Power Station projecting black and white memories onto the apple shop and me granddad living over the road from the dock zone and Italian barbers in the high street where there were tins with glass lids full of custard creams and my flame-haired Auntie Rose worked in the decorator's shop. London, I'm in London and my heart beats so that I can hardly speak. Surprised myself there. I didn't think I'd be able to do that one at all. Everything is lurching into something else. It's enough to make me feel dizzy. I'll never apply for a job again. I never wanted to be part of a team, and I have never relished a challenge unless it involves smuggling. And now I'm too old. I'm too old for all the things I've done. We're all in this together and I'm fragile when I don't have a plan. I try not to look at the pavement and I avoid the competitive walking. The wind sings in the overhead wires and I think of Leonard Cohen and Tom Jones of black limousines and stovepipe hats. I can only sell it cheap because it's stolen. But don't tell everyone, you'll get me in trouble. Be comforted that memories are short, but you're in our thoughts. You can get more for walking a dog through Victoria Park than you can from sitting at somebody's bedside, holding their hand as they breathe their last. And now I'm too old for all the things I've done. And now I'm too old for all the things I've done. The river, always the river.